Look, I need you to listen closely because what I'm about to say might unsettle you, maybe even expose something you've been hiding from yourself. You're not powerless. But power? Real power. It's not a birthright, a lucky break, or something handed to the loudest voice in the room. It's not reserved for the most talented, the flashiest, or the most charming. The truth is far more brutal and far more liberating. Power is a relentless transformation. It's a process of sharpening yourself silently and ruthlessly until the world doesn't just notice you, it has no choice but to obey. Niccolo Machiavelli, that man history remembers for decoding power's dark dance, didn't write about quick fixes or morning routines. He revealed power's cold architecture, habits so exacting, so deliberate, they cut through distraction, weakness, and the noise of the mediocre like a blade through silk. In The Prince, Machiavelli doesn't just explain how rulers rise or maintain control. He reveals how to become a force that shapes reality without raising a sword. His lessons aren't for show, they're for survival, for dominance, for being someone whose silence alone commands respect and fear. If you're tired of being overlooked, dismissed, or drained by those who take what you offer without consequence, then listen closely. Because this is your blueprint for power. Not the power of bluster, but the power that haunts rooms long after you leave. The first habit is to master your face, your first battlefield. Your face is a silent weapon, a language more powerful than any speech. Machiavelli warned that unpredictability in emotion is leverage for your enemies. If they can read your face, they can read your mind. And if they read your mind, they control you. So the first habit is emotional neutrality, not coldness, something deeper. The refusal to reveal your chaos or your thrill. No wide eyes, no quick expressions begging forgiveness or approval. No faces that say what your mouth won't. In moments of insult, chaos, or praise, your face becomes still. An unreadable mask that invites fear, because humans fear what they cannot understand. Your silence will become magnetic, a force field that pulls others in while keeping them at bay. The second habit is to focus on leverage rather than just hard work. Most ask, how hard must I work to win? The powerful ask, what leverage can I use to inspire 10 others to take action for me? Machiavelli's rulers didn't sweat every task. They found the pressure points that created ripples. You must think not as a worker, but as an architect of influence. Systems, relationships, strategies, these are your tools. Productivity is a myth. Power is in creating environments where your presence multiplies impact effortlessly. Every day ask, what one move can make everything else obsolete? Find it, do it, then rest in the silence of control. The third habit is to speak less and observe more. The man who speaks constantly loses power in every word. Noise reveals weakness. Machiavelli taught rulers to speak only when necessary, and then with deliberate precision that leaves no room for challenge. Half your sentences, cut qualifiers, embrace silence. It's your ally. Observe relentlessly. Let others reveal their fears and ambitions through their words while you gather your arsenal of knowledge. Your silence is not fear, it is calculation. In a world drowning in noise, the quiet man commands the tempo. The fourth habit is to be feared for what you might do, not what you've done. Fear is born from the unknown. Your reputation is built not from your accomplishments, but from the potential of what you might do in the future. Avoid revealing all your cards. Don't correct every misconception. Allow whispers to fill in the gaps. What if he's holding back? What if she's waiting to unleash something formidable? Embrace the power of mystery. Be unpredictable. The unknown version of yourself is far more intimidating than the one everyone can see. The fifth habit is to be scarce and irreplaceable. Familiarity breeds contempt. The more accessible you are, the less respect you earn. Machiavelli advised princes to be visible but not fully accessible. Create a sense of scarcity. Guard your time and presence as if they were treasures. Additionally, cultivate irreplaceability by mastering a skill that is so valuable that others cannot do without you. When you are both rare and essential, you become untouchable. People will stop testing you. Instead, they will focus on protecting their connection to you. The sixth habit is to keep allies close, but retain the upper hand. Powerful individuals do not operate in isolation, but they also do not become slaves to friendship. Machiavelli emphasized that alliances are tools, not sacred bonds. Build relationships that benefit you and be prepared to sever them when they no longer serve your interests. Praise others in public, observe their actions quietly, and address issues privately. Emotional dependence is a constraint. Never allow friendship to imprison you. Maintain detachment and control. Up to this point, you have established a solid foundation for your identity. Showcasing your unique face, expressing your thoughts and values through your words, and cultivating a sense of scarcity that draws people in. Now, as you embark on the next phase of your journey, it's time to delve deeper into this transformation. This stage is about honing your presence and resonating with others on a profound level, allowing your essence to shine through even more vibrantly. The seventh habit is to anticipate betrayal before loyalty breaks. Machiavelli recognized the harsh truth that betrayal is an unavoidable part of human interaction, not due to an inherent wickedness in people, but rather because the pressures of circumstance often lead individuals to act out of self-interest. Consider how friends, once united, can swiftly transform into rivals. Allies can just as easily morph into self-serving parasites. The astute and powerful are keen observers of the subtleties that indicate these shifts. Changes in tone, hesitations in responses, and the formation of clandestine alliances. Instead of succumbing to emotional reactions, they adopt a strategic mindset, preparing themselves for the inevitable. By the time the metaphorical knife is drawn, they have already taken action. They have fortified their position, sought out new alliances, or devised a calculated response ready to retaliate with chilling decisiveness. This approach is not rooted in paranoia. It embodies a strategy for political survival and enduring influence, ensuring that one remains resilient in the face of betrayal. The eighth habit is to react slow and strike hard. Have you ever noticed how some people just snap the second something happens? Like boom, instant rage, panic, drama. They let their emotions take the wheel, and it's like watching a car crash in slow motion. Loud, messy, all over the place. But the people who actually win, the ones who hold real power, they don't play that game. They stay calm. Still, like deep water, you don't see much happening on the surface, but underneath, there's pressure building, controlled, focused, dangerous. When things go sideways, they don't freak out. They pause, take a breath, they watch. While everyone else is scrambling, they're silently thinking, calculating. And when they finally move, they hit once, and it's game over. No wasted energy, no second chances, no fake sorries, just clean, final action. That's what makes people nervous around them. It's not the noise, it's the silence. That wait before the storm, because once they move, there's no stopping it. The ninth habit is to master the conversation, even in silence. You've likely encountered someone who effortlessly sets the tone of a discussion without raising their voice. That's deliberate mastery, defining the conversation so that everyone else follows their lead. It's not about winning an argument. It's about shaping the very premise of the discussion from the outset. Adopt the Machiavellian mindset. Enter each dialogue with a clear endgame in mind. You're not merely a participant, you're the architect. Assign conversational roles. Subtly delineate who asks questions, who raises objections, and who listens. Others will naturally align with the structure you've established. Here are practical techniques for exerting control. 1. Frame the narrative immediately. Open with a statement like, "Today's core challenge is," or let's redefine the question as. 2. Leverage strategic silence. A deliberate pause compels others to fill the gap, inevitably advancing your agenda. 3. Use intentional eye contact. A steady, assured gaze communicates authority, prompting interlocutors to tailor their responses to your lead. By employing these methods, you guide participants to construct the very intellectual framework you envisioned. You're not simply debating, you're orchestrating an immersive conversational environment. Once you internalize this habit, discussions will unfailingly progress along the trajectory you've charted. Objections and side arguments will feel preordained, reinforcing your position as the undisputed steward of the dialogue. That is genuine influence, and it begins with owning the frame, even before a single word is exchanged. The 10th habit is to move in silence and shine in public. Here's a truth about power most people never notice. The real moves happen in the shadows. The applause happens on stage. The most effective leaders, those who hold real influence, make their most critical decisions behind closed doors. They negotiate in whispers, shift alliances in quiet meetings, and execute strategies without fanfare. But when it's time to recognize effort, that part's loud, very loud, and that's on purpose. Why? Because public rewards spark ambition. When someone's praised in front of everyone, it sends a message. This is what success looks like here. It creates a sense of competition, a hunger for recognition. Suddenly, people start moving a little faster, trying a little harder, not just for the work itself, but for the spotlight that follows. But there's a flip side, too. That same spotlight creates pressure. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of not measuring up. And that fear, it keeps people aligned, alert, and loyal to the system that offers both validation and consequence. So whether it's a handshake in front of the team or a bonus announcement shared company-wide, every public moment is a carefully crafted signal. A reward, yes, but also a reminder of who's in charge and what it takes to stay in the circle. Behind the scenes, though, that's where the power lives. Decisions made away from the noise, quiet meetings that shape entire outcomes, moves that no one even realizes were made until the effects ripple through. This habit is about mastering both worlds, operate quietly without needing credit in the moment. Then, when it counts, step into the light with purpose. Because real power isn't about being loud. It's about being strategic, in silence and celebration. The 11th habit is to rebuild yourself constantly, but quietly. Here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to admit. The moment you get comfortable, you're already falling behind. Complacency doesn't just slow you down, it quietly rots your potential from the inside out. And yet so many people treat growth like it's a performance. Every new goal becomes a spectacle. Every minor win, a post, a story, a loud reminder to the world, look, I'm changing. But the ones who actually do change, they move differently. Real transformation doesn't come with the spotlight. It happens in the dark. The strongest people don't announce their evolution. They become it, quietly, methodically. They work on their flaws behind closed doors. They read, train, study, and sharpen without a single soul watching. And then, one day, they reappear, not as an improved version of who they were, but as someone completely unrecognizable. To the world, it looks like they came out of nowhere. But in reality, they've been building day by day far away from the noise. This isn't about keeping secrets. It's about becoming so focused on the process that validation becomes irrelevant. While others are busy curating an image, you're busy destroying your old self and rebuilding something stronger, sharper, and more dangerous in its place. That's the essence of this habit. No dramatics, no announcements, just pure, silent reinvention. Because true power isn't just about mastering the world. It's about mastering yourself, over and over again. And when the time finally comes to reveal what you've become, no one will see it coming. However, here's an uncomfortable truth that many prefer to overlook. This is something most people quietly ignore because it's uncomfortable. Good habits aren't enough. Anyone can meditate, read, journal, or train when life is calm. But the moment chaos hits, when you're blindsided, when pressure tightens around you, when betrayal shows up at your door, that's when everything changes, and that's when the mask falls. Because under stress, most people don't rise to the occasion. They fall back into what's familiar, into old patterns, weakness, avoidance, all the routines they were proud of. Gone is the second reality that stops cooperating. But the ones who hold real power, they respond differently. They don't just try to stay calm. They lock in. They reinforce their control. They move with intent. They don't wait for things to settle. They become the stabilizing force in the middle of the storm. That's what separates strength from surface-level discipline. It's not about how well you perform when everything's working. It's about how you hold the line when everything's falling apart. Because in those moments, when your emotions are loud, when the world feels against you, when you want to collapse inward, that's where character is either exposed or built. If your habits are real, they'll hold under pressure. If they're not, you'll know. So the question is this: can you still lead yourself when everything else is slipping? Because that's the real test. Systemize your power. Make it your default state. There's a difference between acting powerful and being powerful. Anyone can posture for a moment, raise their voice, fake confidence, throw around intensity. But real power? That's not something you turn on and off. It's not a performance, it's your baseline. To truly embody power, it needs to be wired into your nervous system, something automatic, instinctive, unshakable. Machiavelli said it best: Prepare for war in times of peace. It means this: don't wait until you're under fire to get serious. Don't wait to be disrespected to practice self-control. Don't wait for chaos to try to be composed. Don't wait for pain to start building resilience. You train now. Silently, consistently, relentlessly. Systemize your response to pressure. Script how you act when things go wrong. Decide now what you'll do when tension hits so your reaction isn't emotional, it's strategic. Start building rituals around your strength. Begin your day in silence. Reflect, breathe, reset. End your day with a review. What did you do right? Where did you fold? This isn't fluff, it's mental conditioning, and it doesn't stop there. Seek out discomfort on purpose. Cold showers. Train your body to stay calm under shock. Awkward silences. Learn to hold tension without filling it. Confront without apology. Speak with clarity, not permission. Each moment of controlled discomfort builds psychological muscle memory. Over time, you stop needing to remember to be composed. You are composed. You don't need to try to be confident. You exist in confidence. You don't just respond with power, you live from it. That's what systemizing power means. It's no longer something you reach for, it's something you are, even when no one's watching. And that's when people stop questioning your presence, because they can feel it, without you needing to prove anything. Maintain your mental war room. Review yourself daily like a spy. Where did you tolerate weakness? When did you react emotionally? Who controls the frame in encounters? Audit your network. Remove energy vampires. Cultivate mystique, not familiarity. You don't aim for perfection. You aim for calculation. What you measure, you master. What you ignore destroys silently. Guard your time like a fortress. If you're serious about becoming powerful, here's one rule you cannot ignore. Protect your time ruthlessly. Every call, every message, every meeting, it all costs something. Your focus, your energy, your presence. And here's the truth. Most people give those things away like they're worthless. But a wise leader doesn't treat time like a convenience. They treat it like a fortress. Impenetrable, controlled, strategic. Every phone call, optional. Every meeting, a negotiation. Every reply, a decision, not a reflex. Your calendar isn't just a to-do list. It's a mirror of what matters to you. It reflects your priorities, your direction, and your discipline. So before you say yes, ask yourself, does this serve my mission, or is it just noise? Because every moment you spend on someone else's urgency is a moment stolen from your purpose. Here's the paradox: the more available you are, the less valuable your time becomes. But when you start protecting it, when you say no more than you say yes, people begin to respect it, and you. Rarity creates value. Boundaries create power. So build walls around your time. Schedule with intention, move with purpose, because when you treat your time like it's sacred, the world will start treating you that way too. Master psychological distance. If you want to be truly powerful, you need to master this. The ability to feel everything but react to nothing. When someone insults you, it stings. That's normal. When someone betrays you, it shakes your core. That's human. But here's the key. You don't let that moment decide your response. You feel the emotion, but you don't let it leak. You hold it. You let the fire build, not to destroy, but to forge something sharper. That pause between the feeling and the action, that's where your power lives. When you respond impulsively, out of anger, fear, pride, you give away control. But when you take a breath, When you observe what you feel without being ruled by it, that's when you become dangerous in the best way. Emotional control isn't about being cold. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about choosing when and how to let that energy move. Think of it like fire. You don't smother it, you shape it, you turn it into fuel. That's how the strongest people move. They don't react, they respond with timing, with precision, with strategy. So don't chase the illusion of being unaffected. Instead, learn to be fully aware of your emotions and still act in alignment with your goals, not your impulses. That's what separates the reactive from the formidable. You don't need to be emotionless. You just need to be in command. Build a reputation you can stand behind. Power doesn't always enter the room loudly. Sometimes it's already there because your name got there first. In the game of influence, emotions like fear, respect, and quiet awe don't just happen. They're engineered. Through your actions, your consistency, and the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. Your reputation isn't about being liked. It's about being understood clearly without explanation. It should feel like armor, not a popularity contest. When you draw a line, it stays drawn. When you walk away, the silence says more than your words ever could. When people think of you, there should be a standard attached to your name. That's the goal. Let others chase attention, you chase alignment, and when things get messy, when you're disrespected, overlooked, or tested, don't resort to drama. Don't explain yourself to people who already know better. Just move with dignity. Let your absence speak louder than your reaction ever could. Because mystery carries weight, and the people who understand power know a single quiet action can echo louder than 1,000 loud words. Over time, your presence becomes a boundary in itself. People adjust their behavior just knowing you're in the room. They speak more carefully, they act more intentionally, not out of fear, but out of respect. So build your name into something that stands. Something you never have to defend because it speaks for you. Your reputation isn't what you say you are. It's what people feel when you say nothing at all. Evolve without announcements. Real transformation doesn't need a spotlight. It doesn't beg for attention. It just happens, silently, steadily, and without asking for permission. While others feel the urge to document every small improvement, you move differently. You don't need to prove you're changing. You just need to change and let the results speak. The strongest people evolve like winter, quiet, sudden, unmistakable. By the time others notice, the season has already shifted, and they're left wondering how they missed it. Because when you grow in silence, you remove all interference. No applause, no feedback loops. Just you, doing the work, out of sight, out of reach. And when you do emerge, it's not to explain anything, it's to demonstrate the version of you they expected is gone. The rules they played by no longer apply. And that confusion, that hesitation in how they speak to you, how they approach you, that's power. At some point, people stop trying to challenge you, not because they've given up, but because they don't recognize the person standing in front of them anymore. That's when you know you've moved past what's familiar. You've crossed a line, and there's no need to look back. So stop announcing your evolution. Let them feel the shift when it's already too late to keep up. Become undeniable without saying a word. You've now internalized these Machiavellian habits. You walk like a storm no one hears until it crashes overhead. You speak with words sharpened like blades. You enforce lines no one dares cross. You evolve in silence, leaving the world behind. You are not motivational. You are untouchable. You don't inspire, you command. From this moment forward, you don't ask for power, you are the power. The world will adapt or be swept aside. Remember, power isn't loud, it's layered. It's the silence before the storm, the shadow that reshapes the light. And you're no longer a man. You are a signal, a force, an untouchable presence. The world is waiting. The question is, are you ready?